Welcome back, crew. Bitcoin nails 111,000. CPI numbers are out and they are not really heated up. So that is good for potential rate cuts. That's adding some fuel to the fire. But the real question is with Bitcoin, can it hold? And what happens if the floodgates open? Because every time Bitcoin stabilizes after a breakout, the pros start to rotate. First into Ethereum, which is stuck in the mud right now at 3,977, right at the 4,000 level, and then into altcoins. And right now, the rotation engine is starting to warm up. Welcome back, everyone. It's Tommy, your boy, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin action. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you have not already, and make sure you come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. We got a major announcement I want to show you, and we're going to get into it in a second. I'm just going to put that up because I want that there. Let's get into it, right? Let's get into the 2-hour chart right now. Bitcoin right now holding the line at around 111,000, roughly up 2% on the day. Now, the key thing here isn't just the price, it's the structure. So that's what we're looking at now. As always, I'm looking for market structure. Right now, I have short-term support sitting right at this level right here, 109,000. That's the level, has to hold. Okay, that's the line in the sand short term. Now, if we break that, we're going to go back down towards the consolidation that we've had in this area right here. Let me just throw up a little rectangle right there. So here was a consolidation that we had, okay, that we finally kind of broke free from. Now, yesterday I talked about volume, right? So really what I wanted to see in this box is very low volume. And if you look at volume, that's what you're going to find. Now, I also want on the breakout, this movement up, I don't want volume to be spiking. Okay. Generally, when volume spikes, like I said in yesterday's video, it's not really a sign of like a market turning. It's actually stop loss running. Now, I want to see volume spike if I get up through this high, because I know there's going to be stop loss running, yes, but it could potentially get me up to another level of stop loss running. So that's where I really want to see the volume start picking up. Like I want to see the volume momentum start breaking. As soon as we break this and blow through this top, I want to see high volume. All right. Now, we had the CPI release today. It came in at what? 0.3 for consumer price index. So basically it's right in line. It's nothing really heating up right now. All urban consumers rose 0.3%, seasonally adjusted, and rose 3% over the last 12 months, not seasonally adjusted. So the index for all items, less food and energy, rose 0.2% in September. That's a pretty good number for rate cuts, in my opinion. Anyway, so that's actually helping us, right? So we got that coming out, that helps us. Now, if we look at the 2-hour chart itself, we're starting to get cleaner, higher lows, right? Now, ETF inflows are back on the uptick. That's good, okay? And risk sentiment has improved after the U.S. and China leadership meeting. So there's a talk that the U.S. and China are going to get together and try to squash this, crazy tariff, that Trump wants to put on. But I understand what he's trying to do. He's using, leverage, right? So you got to do what you got to do to get the best deal, right? And he's a master at it. That now we still have this potential double top that is looming over the marketplace. And we also had like a short-term double top on the 2-hour, right? So really we need to clear this level, and of course we got to get through the 115. So the top of the box right now, right here, is the level that we got to get through. If we can clear this and close above it, say, I'm going to say on like a 6-hour basis, not so much on a 2-hour basis, we got a good potential run that we can get up towards this high and start like retrading at higher levels, kind of like taking the edge off. So I'm thinking if we can get through this top, this box top right here, we can basically see this. We could see the resistance here, and we could start to see this forming right there, creating another box until we can get a potential spike strength up through like the 118. Now, This thing, like over our heads, is not good because the only way we clear this is if we clear the top. So there's a lot of wood to chop. That's why I got to get into our pro group. We'll lead you through it. And, we know Bitcoin right now is still in a make or break situation. All right. We talked about it. It is still here. All right. 5 times in the past, the 106 area, 108 area was acting as resistance, like right up in here. Okay. Now, so far 3 to 4 times we've held this low. We actually pinched down a little bit lower. I did not like that at all, but we pinched down a little bit low. But obviously the main support is really at 98, right? Because this is what? This is a 2-day chart. So basically we're seeing two levels, 100 and the 98. Now, right now, it feels like the market structure is changing a little bit. So if we look at smart money structure and liquidity traps, and this is a good day to focus on price action structure as to relying on any type of major catalyst, i.e., like what we could look at is how the Bitcoin, Ethereum are holding key zones, okay, and how altcoins are coiling at the moment. So those are good things that are happening in the background. But as it stands right now, we're not fully away from this, albatross that's hanging on our neck. We're not away from it yet. The only way we get away from it is if we can basically break up through the 116, 118, and once we take this top out, we can say, oh, all right, the chance of the double top are away from us right now. Okay, so one step at a time, right? So really what we got to look at right here is we have to say in this area, Bitcoin itself needs to hold that 109 that I have. Okay. Now, if it can hold above that and we push a path towards the, next expansion leg, think like 116, then we got the shot at the 118. Okay. But now if we lose the 109, if we lose the 109 that I've been talking about, we're going to get a deeper shakeout. Now it doesn't look like we're going to lose it right now. It looks pretty strong. It looks pretty good. So, but that's the line in the sand. For short-term traders, the bulls got to defend that 109. Okay, they have to defend 109, and they got to get above through the top of the first, box right there, like say 114, 116, something like that. 116 would be great. So remember, if we lose the 109, we could get a shakeout before the next push higher. I don't. Right now, it looks good that the 106 is holding, and obviously, this 103 has held. So the bulls have defended the line. The bears have tried to push. The black hats have tried to push. So far, they have been unsuccessful, but they're still waging, war on us. We got to make sure we understand that the big brother black hats are still trying to squeeze you out and grab your coin. All right, so let's look at the most obvious lag on the chart, okay? And I want to show you Bitcoin versus M2 and gold, right? This, when you're looking at this, you got to think that, you can't chase the market, right? So you got to basically stock liquidity. Now, the most obvious lagger on this chart is Bitcoin itself. Global liquidity broke out. We're looking at M2 actually going to be increased again with the Fed, rate cut that's that should happen. 78% chance that it should happen. Gold responded instantly. Yet no, because gold was like knee-jerk reaction. All the old guys, like myself, get into gold. Hedge yourself against inflation. Now, gold is off its highs right now. It's sitting right at 4,078. Silver's off its highs from 52.80 to like 48.18. I'm not saying it's breaking down. I'm just saying it's cooled off, which is good. So now Bitcoin stood quiet when this was happening, but it's not going to stay quiet for long. If gold starts coming down and actually stabilizes, this is where I'm saying Bitcoin's going to catch the tailwinds and it's going to start to really rally. So remember, a delayed rally doesn't mean a denied rally. And I'm thinking the catch up is going to be brutal. And I'm glad I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for us to get back up to the 118, start playing around next to that, the old, the 126,000 high that we have, 126,000 odd high that we have, and that break that 127. It's going to be just Fabulous, So I think you could feel the liquidities rotating back into crypto, while stocks and gold both are pushing higher and stabilizing. So, and this is what happens. Bitcoin usually leads the charge. Now, we've seen this before. Bitcoin touched. Where's my Bitcoin? I want to show you where Bitcoin actually touched the golden line. There it is. There she be. All right here. Look at this. The 50-week SMA defined every rally in Bitcoin, okay? And it is not time to fade it at all. It's time to front run what comes next. That's why you got to get into our pro group. We'll guide you through it, man. We got points, we got trades popping off right now. Great, man. It's a lot of fun in there. People are making money. Not every trade makes money. I'm not going to say that, but we do make more than we lose. And it's the place to be, man. It's where the cool cats hang out. You want to be with the cool cats. Now, when we're looking at this, we're also saying that, look, Bitcoin itself, all right, what happens? When gold stalled in 2017, Bitcoin exploded. In 2020, gold topped and Bitcoin soared again. 2025, gold is slightly stalling right now. Now, there's major support in gold at $3,700. That's the support. So if gold could stabilize between, let's say, $3,700 and the all-time high, like it doesn't break up higher, but it just sits quietly, that's going to mean that big traders are going to start to think that there's distribution happening. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to start to throw their money into Bitcoin, in my personal opinion. All right, so think about it. Like I'm saying that gold could be in a liquidity trap between 3,000, say 700, and the all-time high, which was I think 4,002 something. I don't really follow gold. But what I want you to do is I have an X post that I want to show you. And that's why I said I gotta roll this down to the post that I want to have up here. Look at this. Peter Schiff just launched tokenized gold. Buy it on an app, transfer it digitally, or redeem physical. This guy just described Bitcoin without saying Bitcoin. Okay, look. So look, I know you bears out there, Tom. You're going to be singing. 90,000 is in the crosshairs. I'm glad I didn't call anybody up for singing lessons. Okay. I'm thinking if we clear that 116, I'm actually just erasing the chick's number from my phone. I wouldn't have to be calling her for any type of singing lessons anytime soon. But really, you got to be early. Okay. You can't be reactive in it. That's what I'm saying, get into our pro group. We'll help you out. We'll make sure you got all the fundamentals, all the macros in place. All right. So right there is my gold Bitcoin. Now let's move on to Ethereum. Oh man, Ethereum. Bullish pennant on the monthly still working. Quietly holding. And now it's been holding right around 3,900 to the 4,000 range right now. That silence could be deceptive if you're not understanding what's going on. So every major rotation starts when Ethereum starts to outperform Bitcoin. But Bitcoin dominance is still too high for it to happen. So right now, Ethereum Bitcoin is still pinned near support. Volume is low, which is good, but it's slowly ticking up. Gas fees are creeping a bit higher. Both early signs of on-chain activity returning. So now we have to say if Bitcoin clears, the 4,200 level. I'm sorry, did I just say Bitcoin? I meant when Ethereum clears the 4,200 level, we could start to see a clean expansion to 46. Now I'm comparing Bitcoin to Ethereum, Bitcoin 2017, 2021 to Ethereum right now, okay? It's broken out, okay? But really, like I said, Bitcoin dominance is still high. So we're going to see the rotation when Bitcoin dominance, kind of falls and then Ethereum takes the leadership role. Then, it's going to move down to the high beta alts right now. So institutional flows are watching this chart very carefully, in my opinion. Okay. Remember, The pros don't pile into alts until Ethereum confirms direction. Now, Bitcoin did a 500% rally after breaking its macro trend line. Ethereum just broke the same structure. Breakout, retest, liftoff. The chart speaks. The price is going to follow. It's going to follow. Remember when Bitcoin went through like that stress test when we had, the yen carry trade way back when? Well, the yen carry trade still comes on every once in a while because people don't have any idea what the Bank of Japan is doing. I said this yesterday. And I also told you got to watch dollar yen. Remember we said that? Watch dollar yen. Look at a breakout in dollar yen, but look now at the cool off. Now, you could say, well, wait a second. You said if dollar yen's going up, Bitcoin's going to be under pressure. Yes, but I also said you had to watch the euro and you had to watch the sterling. Now, right now, sterling is really kind of holding its place. It's not really falling out of bed, which is good. Where's cable right now? 133.40. Really good. The main support in cable right now is at 132, like 75-ish, something like that. Let me see if I can find my cable just in case anybody's trading cable. Yeah, it sits really at 130, 131.45. That's the main support in cable. Eurodollar also, holding its own. So really what happened with the US dollar index is it's kind of unchanged. All right. Maybe even slightly lower because the European, the cable rallied and the Eurodollar rallied. It's important. You gotta tie all this stuff together. It's not just, looking at your candlesticks and going, oh, look, we got a breakout. No, there's a lot of other stuff working with, because that basically tells you whether or not it's a false breakout. So if we're looking here at the Ethereum, Bitcoin, right there, what we said, when Ethereum has broken the macro structure itself, price is going to follow. And we said that when Bitcoin, went through the stress test with the yen carry trade, same thing is happening with Ethereum right now. Because the market got thrown off with the tariff nonsense. So it threw us into a tailspin. It blew Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance was down really nicely low. And then we had that spike up. We're going to be looking at that in a second. Let's check out Bitcoin dominance right now. Let's go over to that chart. All right, look at this. We were down here, man. 57. We were on our way to altcoin season. Now, if we come on over to this chart right here, the CMC Alt Season Index, look where we are. We're not, we could say the engines are starting to warm up, but really, all right, look where we are. All right, so right now, it's not really happening, right? It's not happening. We'll alert you to it. Of course, it's going to happen when the Bitcoin dominance actually starts falling again. We were on our way, and then that damn spike sent us right back up. So we need to actually see. I'm saying Bitcoin dominance below 57.5. Right now we're sitting at 59.79. So, Bitcoin, reacted to currency stress. Ethereum responded to geopolitics, and it's also responding to the Bitcoin dominance. All right, so some alts are starting to show some early signs of life, but it's very selective. You got Solana, Avalanche, Chainlink catching steady bids, while meme names like Whiff and Bonk are leading the retail crowd higher. But as we see here, we're not in near alt season yet, but the structure is forming. So we got to get that Bitcoin dominance down. That's the most important thing. And once it breaks lower, we're going to know that capital is going to flow into altcoins. Okay, so if we look, and gold is the star of the show. It's really the star of the show. Crypto versus gold just flipped bullish. Okay, so we're getting the altcoin season. It's finally starting to flip bullish. Every time this ratio breaks out, altcoins go vertical. Now, of course, you got to put the whole pieces together. We need the Bitcoin dominance down. We need Ethereum to actually lead the way. Then, of course, smart money projects, good utility coins are going to be the ones that take off. A lot of people want to bank their money like, oh, I'm going to buy this thing for 0.000000001, and I'm going to sell it at a penny and become a millionaire. You got to pick the right utility coins. Don't just, don't be into hopium. Do some research. Again, get into our pro group, and we'll take you through it. Speaking of pro group, how do you join it? I mean, I keep talking about it. So how do you join it? Well, link is in the description. Come on over right here, click this link, completely free to join. We drop insane alpha and trading opportunities every day. All right. Now, we got you covered in this group. Long-term setups, short-term setups, everything's here. Hey, you want to go alone, and I can understand that. We offer two broker platforms that are awesome. Really low fees, fast execution. The spreads on the prices are incredible. We got WeX, where you can join up. They're offering insane opportunities. So check that link out. Also, BTCC is doing market promotions. They're giving a $500 giveaway for new accounts. Great to start off with. You get extra $500. That's cool. You throw 100 in, get 500. So now you got a $600 trading account. Not bad at all. Just make sure you trade with your head and not over it. If you're into Forex trading, click this link out. Come over to my Forex channel. Starting up a new channel too. I'm going to call it Tom Alonji Forex, and it's just going to be stories because I like to tell stories. So I'm setting that YouTube up right now. It's going to be stories. I think it'll be really, really cool. All right. So if we look at this marketplace right here, crypto versus gold. Okay, like we said, every time the ratio breaks out, alts go vertical. And we flip the macro range. All right. So fortunes can be made here, but smart money moves early, but you got to know which ones to get into. Okay. So you don't make the money during the breakout, you make it accumulating before the breakout. All right. So what's the game plan right now? As we said, right now, short-term support sits at 109,000. That's what needs to hold. Now, the resistance sits right here, okay? Right at 113, 114. Monster resistance is this 114, okay? So we could say, let's just say 114 is the resistance, okay? We can get through that. That's a good sign. Ethereum itself. All right, so Ethereum needs to break above 4,100, 4,200 to confirm the next leg upward. It needs to hold 3,006 for sure. Okay, lower downside 3,006. For the alt radar, focus on assets building multi-week highs. Okay, and with the multi-week highs, you do want to see rising volume. I know it gets confusing with the rising volume and the low volume. When you want low volume when the market's at a low. You don't want high volume down. That means it's that the big boys are slowly accumulating. You want the high volume when the market breaks out through tops. That's basically people covering shorts, but it needs to hold that old top, or it could be just a short covering rally that's going to fall right back into the range. Happens all the time. Hate it when it happens, but it happens. It's part of the game. So you have to understand, like when you're looking at Ethereum and even Bitcoin, like when we were looking, let me just go back to Bitcoin. Like when we were here, okay, everybody was thinking, oh, we're breaking back down, we're going back down low, we're going to break down to 100,000. Okay, yeah. But if you notice like the consolidation here, this is where the professionals use the pauses, the flat areas to build exposure quietly while retail gets bored. And they threaten. The black hats are threatening in this area, saying they're like, oh, they're going to unleash, they're going to sell, they're going to puke all over everybody. And, retail panics, man, especially if you're over leveraged. You don't want to be over leveraged, so make sure you never get over leveraged. All right, so anyway. We got geopolitical tone now has turned slightly optimistic, and that is huge for us. Markets are pricing in Fed easing by year end. Gold's pressing towards all-time highs, but has cooled, and liquidity is slowly sleeping back into risk assets. The combination that we got right now is liquidity plus optimism plus ETF inflows is exactly what powers the next leg of all crypto rallies. The key is don't confuse momentum with mania. All right, don't do it. Strong hands are buying structure. They're not buying hype. All right, they're not doing it. All right, so that's what we got going on for you today. The key takeaway again is Bitcoin is holding its strength. Ethereum is coiling tight. And the altcoin market is slightly whispering, yeah, we have potentials here. So make sure you come on over to X. Follow us on X where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. It's the place you want to be, man. I mean, we're the only ones that put out. Remember, I told you like there are some big wigs that are interacting with us and they're coming after us because we're exposing them. So Come on over, follow us on X. Make sure you join our pro group. Remember, trade with your head, not over it. Do your own research. As you know, I am not a financial advisor. I am a trader just like you. And remember, always, always, as a short term trader, enjoy the party, but dance near the door. I'll see you tomorrow. Good trading. Stay safe out there. Don't over leverage yourself. Cheers.